There we go. Now we're live. Hey guys, and happy Friday. I am here today with my son Lucca, who is 20, and he is finishing up his junior year at University of Washington in the architecture department. Very exciting. And this summer, Lucca will be traveling to France to do foreign study. And so what we thought would be kind of fun today is to have my kids talk a little bit about their travel experiences and what they're going to be doing this year, and also to take any questions that you may have. So we do have somebody monitoring questions, so put your questions into the chat box. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust this. Our laptop is not really helping today.
I'm also here now.
Nico's also here now. So what we're going to be doing today is just taking your questions and also having just a little chat between the three of us about travel and family travel and what we consider to be great family travel and tips for packing, anything that you guys can think of. So please, if you've just joined us, go ahead and put any questions. It's Ask Us Anything within reason, and put that into the chat.
What's the meaning of life?
What's the meaning of life? I think it's
the meaning of
42.
Life is travel.
It's 42, I think, isn't it? I don't know. Those of you watching can tell me if it's 42. So cheers. Happy Friday, everybody. Cheers. Clink, clink. I was going to do a summer cocktail, but somebody made me a cocktail, so I'm enjoying that. Clink, clink. All right.
Glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Your
All
poor drowning of drought children. Nothing to drink.
So, Lucca, first of all, you are going to be in Paris this summer. You're going to be there for a little over a month, and you're leaving week after next. So tell us a little bit about what foreign study is like.
Yeah, foreign study, you stay in, depending on the program, either a hostel or with a host family, and you go and typically you typically go study in some sort of local college that will host you. And so depending on the college, it can be either somewhere with pretty large classrooms or small, and you either get a professor from the college or you get a professor from the local college to teach about the field of study. And the key thing about the foreign study is that the location itself provides you with some sort of advantage. Like if you're studying French, then you're going to want to be in France so that you can go around and have French conversations. Or if you're studying French history, or only thinking of French examples because I'm going to France. But
yeah, so he's going to be living in La Défense, not actually in the center of Paris, because it's on the line one.
It is on the line one. La Défense is the tech ghetto. So this is the equivalent of Canary Wharf in London, or what's the equivalent in New York? Would it be is that one neighborhood that's in West New York, West Manhattan?
I don't really know New York City very well. Anyway, so this is what Lucca's doing. Fun coincidence is that we were commissioned to do a private family tour. Now, I know you guys know I used to work for Rick Steves, and I was one of the guides that was tasked with coming up with a family tour, whatever that meant. They gave us the concept, and we ended up coming up with a sort of grand tour of Europe that was appropriate for families. It was often grandparents and their grandchildren, parents and their children, usually kids over the age of 8 or 9, up to kids who were not even really kids who were in their mid-20s. So I helped to work on that over many years. And so somebody came to me and said, hey, I know you used to do that, and I would like to kind of create a similar tour with a family group. So they have 16 people, and Nico is going to join us as our youth liaison.
It's a very specific title you've given me.
Well, that always used to be what we would have on tours, is I would have an assistant who was younger than me. One of my assistants famously said to me when I was approached by a fan who approached me in front of Notre Dame, the group was like, why are people talking to you? And they didn't understand that I was known on the internet. And this assistant of mine said, oh, Sarah, she's internet famous, but for old people. She said that in front of the whole group. That was great. And I said, that is the thing that needs to be on my tombstone someday, is she was internet famous, but for old people. So, oh, sorry. Okay, there's already
we
questions.
all lean in.
We see the questions already, and actually we can see the questions, so you're good. So anyway, Nico and I are going to do this private custom tour. that we were requested to do. It's a 2-week tour that starts in London. It's going to go to France, Switzerland, Italy, and it's going to end in Rome. And so Nico's going to help me by doing activities with the kids. Mostly, probably, I'm just going to give him like ice cream money and tell them all to go buy ice cream at the grocery store or something. So we're going to...
a very demanding job, I think.
It is, but I mean, I think that it's really important as a tip, if you're taking your kids traveling this summer in Europe in particular, to give them, if they're teenagers, please give them some freedom. You don't have to watch them every second of the day in Europe. Like Venice, famously in Venice and Taormina in Sicily as well, when Lucca was 9, I just gave him money for coffee every morning, and he would go down. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah, he would.
I would make friends with the store owner.
Yeah, he would have coffee money because I'm a notorious late sleeper, and he would get up early and go down and get coffee and granita and bring those home while we were staying in Taormina. So please, if you are traveling with kids, that's my number one tip. Try to program in time to let your teenagers in particular have the luxury of not having your presence, right?
It's very important.
Yeah, it is. I mean, oh yeah, he's saying that to me because I'm not mother, I'm smother, right? Mother with an S.
Helicopter mom.
I'm not actually.
No, she's not at all.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. So we're going to be starting off on my birthday, more or less, is when we're leaving on June 24th. We're going to kick off. We're going to head to Bath first. Nico's never been to Bath. Bath. And we're going to have tea at the pump room for my birthday. That's my birthday treat. And then we're going to go back and pick up our group in London. And we're going to be off and running. So I'm just going to start in with the first question that came in. We do have some online questions as well that were emailed to me, so I'm going to get to those as well. So the question I see here is, when will the second half of tours for 2026 be released? And I know that's the question on everybody's mind. We're going to release those the day before I leave because we need more time. So the 22nd of June is going to be our fall release party. And I can give you a hint of some of the things that are going to be on there. Indonesia was such an incredible trip that we're going to actually shift it to the fall, which I think is a better time to go because we got doused. And so it's drier in September. So we're going to do an expanded Indonesia tour, adding an extra island and potentially the opportunity to go to Komodo to see Komodo dragons in like live and not in a zoo. I think that sounds cool. So Indonesia is an amazing destination. So that's one thing. Another thing I know people are going to be excited about is they're going to be excited about Greece. I'm going to be doing a Greece tour, and Nico actually helped me with the research for that last year. And we have a few other. There's 2 really big tours on there. I think you know what they are. If you don't, you're going to have to wait and find out. The 2 most requested destinations we've ever received, we finally have them put together.
I don't know what they are.
Oh, good. It'll be a surprise for you too. And so it's going to be a thing where it's going to be expensive. I'm going to warn you that these 2 big ticket items, it's a dream trip everybody's asked us to arrange. It's not cheap. It's more expensive than our usual tours. It's not outrageously more, but just be prepared that it is a more expensive destination. So there's going to be a surprise destination that you're all waiting for.
Is it Vegas?
Yes, it's Vegas. Actually, that would be really fun.
That would be fun, actually.
I'm really fun in Vegas.
We could take Grandpa. Vegas.
Yeah, I don't think we should take Grandpa because we would never see Grandpa.
Oh, true.
Yeah. So that's all you need to know for now. Patreon people, of course, are going to be invited on the 22nd. Patreon people are going to have the same discount that we offered at the first launch as well. So any tours that you buy for the first 2 days after that. And then let's just say on my birthday, the 24th, that's going to be the general release to all the public. So my gift this year, if you would like to give me a gift, is book a tour and make sure that I can pay for my children because I'm going to have 2 kids in college next year. So yeah, so we need to make sure we have lots of tours. So, yeah, because college is
Can I
not
have
cheap.
more money? Can I have money? I want money.
Money?
Yeah,
I'm shaking it because I think money is going to fall out of you.
yeah, I'm not a money tree. Yeah. So anyway, so that's what's going on with the 2026 tours. There are a couple of things that are not going to show up on the 2026 calendar yet. Christmas tours for 2026, we will announce what they are, but we cannot take reservations because we're way too far in advance to get accurate pricing from our hotels and stuff. So you'll know what the Christmas tours will be. And there's one other tour that's going to be kind of a wild card that we're researching and we can't put on sale this month, but we're going to tell you about it. And then you can be excited, and those things will probably go on sale at the end of the year. No,
Huh?
you don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. Wait, no, there's the other one.
Whisper. No, No. They know about that already.
They know about that one? Okay.
Amsterdam and Netherlands should be on sale that day on the 22nd, and Aeolian Islands should be on sale on the 22nd as well. So, sorry. We're constantly entertained by our cat. All right. So, that's what's up with that.
Couch cushion.
You guys are killing it at this whole live stream thing.
Cat activities.
Cat activities.
We are going to describe it in immense detail to make the most entertaining live stream possible.
We're not going to actually show it. We're just going to describe it.
All right. So, in the news this week, I would like to get reaction because you know the Zoomers, the Gen Z kids, like reaction videos. So, Lucca, I'd like you to react to the news that Alaska Airlines is now going to fly direct to Rome from Seattle.
I thought you were going to say react.
Wait, we have to all three of us do it at the same time. Ready? Yeah, we're very excited. I know. We're very, very excited because there's almost no airline that flies from the West Coast to Italy at all. There's ITA. They fly to Los Angeles. ITA is really bad. It's the former Alitalia. The last time I flew on ITA from Rome to Los Angeles, my screen in the back of my chair was the size of my iPhone. So it was a plane probably from like 1990. So I'm very excited that we're going to have a new route, and we do have some Alaska Airlines pilots who are in our mix here on probably watching this, and thank you very much for helping us to get that route. That's very exciting. So I am very excited about all of that. Oh, a nice question. Iceland. I cannot reveal whether Iceland will be on the schedule or not, but I will just say it has been discussed. Iceland has been discussed. Oh, you're on my hair. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's okay. Iceland is a destination neither of my kids have been to before. We have a really fun guide there that we love working with, so we'll see. This is a great time, as it turns out. I don't know if you guys know this. Did you know that this is the best time to see the Aurora Borealis in your lifetimes?
Wait, really? Why?
Because the sun's exploding.
Yes, because the sun is exploding.
We're all going to die.
It's because there, for some reason, is an abnormal magnetic activity at the polar ends of the Earth for the next decade. So I didn't know that either. I was at the European Tour Operators Association meeting, and they told us that the next 10 years we really should all be thinking about northern countries to be able to include that.
I remember that because the Aurora Borealis got all the way down here, and we got to see it.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
We live in the northern end of the United States.
Yeah.
So we got to see that.
And I have to say, Iceland
Sorry,
is one of our more selfish destinations because I love any excuse to go to Iceland. I think Iceland is just a cool place. I love Reykjavik. I love going to all the baths. So
The balls.
Bogs. Sorry. Bogs. Yeah. So that's a really exciting thing. So yeah. Anyway. So all that stuff is all good. All right. The other question, one of the questions that we got online, which is a good question that is relative to what I just did. What do we all do about rainstorms and rain gear? So I'm going to ask my children if they have advice about rain. What do you do, Lucca, to prepare for rain when you travel?
Well, ideally, you're not going to be in a forest or something, so just go indoors.
No, what do you bring with you?
Oh, what do I bring with me?
God,
always
they're really good at this.
Well,
Professional travel writers here.
always have a mini umbrella in your bag. It takes up no space, and you can bring it out in 5 seconds. And I don't leave the house without one. I have one in my bag right now, and you can just take it out and huddle under it, and then go indoors.
Fun fact, people from Seattle, a city where it rains all the time, don't know where their umbrellas are. I literally don't know where umbrellas are.
That's how you spot somebody who hasn't lived in Seattle for very long, is the people who use an
Yeah,
umbrella.
that's if you're moving to Seattle, that's the immediate giveaway that you're not from here if you're using an umbrella.
We don't use umbrellas.
We don't use
So,
umbrellas.
Nico, what do you do to prepare for rain?
I'm the Seattleite. I bring a jacket. You can just get what?
A packable Gore-Tex.
Yeah. So you can either bring a really light down or cotton jacket that you can roll up really tight and put in your bag, or you can get one of those really light plastic ponchos that kind of packs into itself, and you can pack that, and that's a really good quick thing.
It is. Can you go on the doorstep and grab the package on the doorstep for me? Yeah. So this is really relevant because I just learned a big lesson about rain while I was in Java, because I had heard when we had organized this trip with our contacts there, we wanted to put it into May when they said it was going to be dry season. So turns out that's not dry season. Dry season is from June until was there not a box there? Is there a box by the front door?
Yeah, there are 2 boxes.
Yeah, bring a box that seems like it has shoes in it. So they, when we got there, apparently it actually starts more in June. So the dry season really in Indonesia runs from maybe mid-June until mid-September. And so the problem...
It's on the other side of the equator.
It's on the other side of the equator. So, as you might have noticed on some of our Indonesia videos, we got absolutely drenched to the bone. And not even a funny rainstorm. It was like a scary rainstorm. We had gone up to the top of Borobudur, which is this huge temple, and there was a lightning rod on top of Borobudur.
Oh, no.
And it struck while we were there, and I swear to you that it struck lightning, I would say no more than 15 feet from where we were standing. And I've never been that close to a lightning strike in my life. And I am really glad that I didn't actually have a heart attack at that moment. So, and not just for myself. It's like, yeah, of course, I don't want to hit by lightning, but I'm mom. And like, I'm more worried about all of our guests. Like, this is a very dangerous situation. So we tried, the thing is you couldn't run down because it was raining so hard. So this question about rain is a really good one because
there's always somebody who's like the least, who's always the one that's sort of separated from the group, who's like wandering around. Ooh, look at that! It's like, I want to go in the rain because this is fun. They get hit, and it's like you have to like wheel them out on a stretcher or something.
No, that wasn't the situation. But we didn't have enough umbrellas for everybody, so there was one person that got completely drenched to the bone, which was not fun. So anyway, so the point is, we learned that. What I thought was sufficient preparation for rain sometimes is not sufficient preparation for rain. So I have learned my lesson. The number one lesson I learned from that experience was that bringing leather shoes to Indonesia is a very bad idea. And the reason I brought them is because somebody I was traveling with told me that my Tevas were ugly. And I'm like, yes, they are ugly.
Being such a mean girl.
Yeah, they are ugly. So I had these very beautiful leather shoes that I brought with me because they were not as ugly as my Tevas. And it's true, my Tevas are probably 15 years old. And I take them with me to Thailand. You can hike in them. I mean, they're trashed because they are old. They're leather Tevas, but they're really at the end of their lifespan. But so I brought these beautiful shoes instead that were not inexpensive. They were Taos, which were quite expensive because I am researching our new shoe recommendations. So I wanted to make sure that they were good before I recommend them. And then we got caught in this massive rainstorm and they got completely soaked. Turns out that it was really, really, like every pair of shoes basically I brought got completely soaked. So.
I don't know where that package is that you want.
Oh, is that not shoes? Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I remember something similar happening a couple of months ago where we had really, really strong rains in Seattle, and I was wearing leather shoes, and it was this beautiful leather shoes. After exactly 2 days of rain, of like walking through the rain straight, my feet smelled like a morgue. It was awful.
To be fair, your feet smell bad. Sometimes.
Don't tell them that.
Sometimes.
Don't tell them that. On live cam.
Hey, come on! You're not excused.
Slander.
You're not excused.
No, I'm not.
Okay. So anyway, that's a roundabout way of saying, if you are going to plan for rain, the biggest thing you can do, other than bring a Gore-Tex waterproof jacket that's packable, I have a few I can recommend. I think I have them on the website, but I can also add some links to this this live stream. Bring something that's foldable, packable, you can keep with you all the time. The other thing in Java, a place that has a lot of rain, actually, I wouldn't even recommend a Gore-Tex jacket because it wasn't enough. I would bring a poncho. We ended up buying, this was very funny, we bought ponchos and it never rained again. I'm not kidding. We were in Bali and I think we spent $3 or $4 per these really ugly ponchos. We never used them. I don't even know what happened to them because we didn't need them. So
They're so big and they like take so long to pack back up.
But they have those really cheap kind of plastic button-up rain jackets that you can get that I would just put one of those in your bag if you're going any place that has a lot of rain. Even the Netherlands is the same. I mean, but any place that has really monsoon kind of rains, that's a good idea. But shoes are the problem. If your shoes get wet, you are a miserable traveler. So bringing a pair of water, compatible sport sandals like Tevas. I hate to say it, Tevas are great shoes. They are not stylish. They are not cool. But they kind of are the thing because they have good hiking tread, they're adjustable, and they won't be destroyed by water. So that is my recommendation. And here's the good news for all of you guys. We are going to introduce next week, we're going to have a shoe bonanza next week. We're going to have 5 separate blogs for you of shoe recommendations for different kinds of travel shoes, as well as my top recommendations. We're going to do a Substack on how to choose the best pair of travel shoes as well. So just get ready for a travel shoes bonanza over the next couple of weeks, because I know you all want to know what shoes I'm wearing. I don't know why, but you do. You want to know. So what shoes are you wearing, Nico?
I'm wearing socks.
What shoes are you going to take to Europe with you?
That's a good question. Probably I'm just going to take some like lightweight tennis shoes, like those ones that I got for Egypt.
Yeah, they're on cloud tennis shoes. We both take on cloud tennis shoes with us now.
Yeah. Those are good. Those are nice and lightweight and breathy, and they're good for travel.
And the Tevas probably.
Yeah, probably a pair of Tevas is a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably just those shoes.
No flip flops.
No flip flops.
Yeah, then we need something that's more hikey. Laura is suggesting Chacos, and I'll tell you why I don't bring Chacos. I have brought them. They are super heavy. I have a great pair of Chacos I love, but they're super heavy, number one. And number two, because the straps move, they're adjustable, they strangle your toes. So this beautiful pair of Chacos that I have that I wore all fall last year drove me crazy because they were constantly strangling my big toe. So I'm going to say no on the Chacos. I know some of you will die with your Chacos on your feet because they're much more sporty. But for me, they're way, way, way too heavy. I can put 3 pairs of shoes in my bag for the same weight as 1 pair of Chacos. So not my favorite, but Lucca, what shoes are you going to take to France?
I'm gonna take 1 pair of like style shoes, like
stylish?
Okay, yeah, that's true. I've never been stylish in my life. It's especially not with this outfit.
You should lean in and show them. Yeah. This is a shirt I got.
Really not stylish outfit, Nico.
Northern India. It's a really cool shirt. Anyway.
But I'm gonna the ones that I'm gonna be bringing is like 1 pair of like bulkier sort of shoes that are like treat shoes, and then 1 pair of just like really light sort of flip flop type shoes to wear like when it's hot.
Or your Birkenstocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Birkenstocks. Birkenstocks are really good. I actually got a pair of they're knockoffs. I got a pair of, can you grab them, the white Birkenstocks? Yeah. This is actually a recommendation.
Your mule boy.
Yeah, you are. This is actually a recommendation I would not have made because I've seen these and I didn't really love how they looked. And I actually bought a pair once and I thought they were kind of ugly. But when I was walking through a market in Bali, they had a whole store of Birkenstock knockoffs. And I was like, interesting. And by the way, I still have an unpacking video to do to show you guys the things I bought in Indonesia because I bought some really neat stuff. So that is coming this weekend probably, as long as I can get somebody to be my camera for me. So I bought these knockoff Birkenstocks and they're made of like rubber. And at first I'm like, I don't think I'm going to like these. And then I put them on. They're super light. And not only that, Nico put them on and they absolutely positively are a delight to wear. It's like wearing marshmallows. I might even bring these with me to Europe this summer because look, they are waterproof because they're foam. They're super light and they are incredibly comfortable. And are they ugly? I actually don't think so. I think they're kind of cute. They're white, which I think is kind of cute. So I love these. You can adjust them a little bit. These were knockoffs. They cost me about $20 at a market in Bali, but the real thing, you can get them online. And I think that you can probably get them online for $50 maybe. But yeah, so this is one of my new favorite travel, pairs of shoes. So have a seat, Nico.
I am.
Nico's hot.
I am hot.
It's hot here in Seattle. So I'm just looking at...
It's 70 degrees in Seattle.
And everybody's dying.
It's so hot for us.
We're all dying and it's 70 degrees.
We have a heat warning in effect here for this weekend because it's going to be 80. So...
God forbid.
God forbid. So the shoe question is always the biggest question we get for packing on any topic. So if you have a shoe recommendation, go ahead and drop it into the comments and I'll add those to our recommendations because we're going to have a reader... This is great. They're very helpful. We're going to have a reader recommendation for shoes blog, and we're going to have also my recommendations for my favorite travel shoes as well, which has changed since the last time we talked about this a couple of years ago. So, yeah, Isis loves this. So, Lucca, Tell me, what is one thing that what are a few things you like to add into your bag when you travel that are maybe things people hadn't thought about?
Always bring a first aid kit. Always bring
Box of awesome.
Box of awesome, yeah. Always bring. I mean, the like favorite pillow as well is that's a big one in our family. Although I have an atypical one. I bring a stuffed animal because I'm weird like that.
He's been sleeping with the same stuffed animal since he was like a month old, and
He's
so
such a child, Lucca.
that goes. But he sleeps with it as his pillow, so it's the same as me having my down pillow. So
That being said, that stuffed animal is extremely heavy, so
Yeah,
something lighter
it's
than
actually
it
not
is
about.
probably.
If you have like a light pillow, then you should definitely pack it. Because also, even if you like clip it onto your bag or something like that, you can just like take it off on the plane and you'll be laughing. So
yeah.
and then you just like haul it to your hotel.
Yeah.
And who cares if on the metro ride to the hotel that you have like a pillow on your bag?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just distracted by something, so I want to tell you a quick unrelated story.
Oh,
We-
the crow.
We have a crow.
Have you told him about the?
No,
Have you told Luca about the crow story?
I don't know. So
Right.
Nico and I, my mom was over the other day, and Nico and I were laying in bed watching Conclave, by the way, which is a great. No, it's
It's an
Lucca.
amazing
Lucca.
movie.
That's a great movie, and also
I was
Conclave.
not watching that. That was you and Grandma.
If you haven't seen Conclave, you have to see it though, because it actually has a lot to do even with the conclave that happened. You'll understand when you watch it that it actually feels very relevant to the conclave that did happen recently. Anyway, no, because it was.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So when we were laying there watching a movie, we heard something in the attic, and it sounded like a mouse. And I'm like, "Oh, great, we have a mouse in the attic." So a few days later, I look up on the roof as I'm gardening, and of course, I see a tiny little mouse who is running around on the roof because I think that mouse got in through a vent on the roof. So I'm like, great. So I have to go to the store and I have to get a mouse trap and all that kind of stuff. So I got that and I came home and I was going to set it up. Parallel to that, I had read somewhere, I don't know why I decided to do this. I read somewhere a story about how like somebody like had been feeding crows and the crows kind of bond with the people that feed them. And like they had been like in danger, like somebody was robbing them or something and the crow attacked or something. I mean, I read this story about crows. Anyway, so long story short, I've been feeding a crow and I've been kind of befriending a crow because it's always here. So in the morning it asks me for bread and what am I supposed to do? So I throw it some bread. So the crow's up on the roof and I'm talking to Nico and Nico goes, "Oh my God, Mom." And what happened?
So I look up on the roof and I see we had just been kind of noting that there is no, we were talking about the crow. Never mind. I'm wrong. We were talking about the crow and it kind of flies around a little bit and it lands on the roof and I don't mind it for a second because I'm talking to you, but then I look back up there and I see it like pecking at something and then a minute later it flies off with the mouse in its beak. It kills the mouse off of the roof and flies away with it.
Yeah. So it's our new family member. We call him Sir Pex-a-Lot. He killed, I mean, that's an 80s Seattle reference if you don't get it, but that's okay.
That's a reference.
It is. Have you never heard of Sir Mix-a-Lot?
Oh,
My
no.
Posse's
Sir
on Broadway.
Mix-a-Lot.
You're wrong.
My
Oh,
Posse's on Broadway.
there was. Have you seen those videos of when Sir Mix-a-Lot came to Seattle again after like however many years in Benaroya Hall, which is like the opera house. Sir Mix-a-Lot, which is one of the like early great rappers.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Yeah, playing in the opera house in Seattle.
That's his like big song. Isn't it?
Well, it is his big song, and
That's what everybody
he
knows.
brought up two of the wealthiest looking ladies and had them like twerking on stage.
Ooh.
It was hilarious. Sorry, this is not
This has nothing to do with travel.
Sorry,
Complete tangent.
Sorry. Let's move on, shall we?
Anyway, so Sir Pex-a-Lot is now a new family member because he is the guardian of our attic and he's keeping the rodents out of the attic, so he gets a treat every morning. So, what?
Maybe not an appropriate story. I didn't think about that. Anyway, where would be a good first trip for Nana and 4 grandkids aged 9 to 13? Here's my.
That's a great question, and I
here's my
have thoughts, but I think
controversial
I'm actually going to take an opinion from both of you before I answer. So let's reiterate the question. Where would be a good first trip for a grandma and 4 grandkids aged 9 to 13? Excellent question. Lucca?
London.
Okay.
London.
Why?
That's
London, easy transit into the city, easy to find a good hotel within city limits, close to everything, easy to navigate. It's English speaking, and as I assume you're an English speaker, unless you aren't, in which case that's actually really cool. Then you're going to have an easy time navigating everything, and there's a lot of great stuff to see. There's, if you're bored of London, you're bored of life. So, yeah.
All right. So, oh, by the way, just an aside, if you have a different name for Sir Pex-a-Lot, let us know, because everybody thinks that name's too long. So if you want to name him something else, you can put it in the chat, and we will consider options to rename Sir Pex-a-Lot, because my kids don't really understand that reference. So anyway. Okay. Nico, where would you take 4 kids between the age of 9 and 13?
That is a very good question.
So why don't you think for a sec? And I would just say,
I need a minute to think about that.
On the London topic, so here's what I would do with kids between the age of 9 and 13. Number 1 is Tower of London. If you go to Tower of London and you're able to get the Keymaster tour where you get to close the Tower of London, that would be really cool, but you have to apply about a year in advance. But even if you just go first thing in the morning and beeline, just absolutely forget the Beefeater tour, go straight to the Crown Jewels when nobody's there yet. Do the Crown Jewels first, and then do the Beefeater tour. Kids always love that. Take a city cruise, take the cruise from Westminster Pier down to Westminster, and then from there you can see a lot of stuff. I mean, there's you can go to the National Gallery. High tea is absolutely required. Our favorite high tea is, do you remember the name?
Oh goodness, I don't remember that. I remember
Wolseley.
The Wolseley, and it's in an old auto dealer.
It's so elegant. It's right next door to the Ritz. I love it so much. You should definitely go to the Wolseley. Claridge's is also wonderful. It's quite a bit more expensive. You guys loved Claridge's, and they're very good with kids at Claridge's. So those are my 2 choices. The other choice, actually, I think Nico and I are going to try this when we're in London, is Fortnum and Mason. Just go to Fortnum and Mason.
It's so amazing.
We spent 2 hours in Fortnum and Mason last summer.
Around.
Just looking at
Fortnum
stuff.
and Mason is awesome. Even if you don't get anything, just window shopping there is awesome.
The most beautiful department store ever. And don't miss the basement with the food hall. Their food is just absolutely beautiful. So
They give you free samples of Hamoni Barrico ham, so you can try that without having to spend $1 bajillion.
That's really good.
Yeah, so I think that London is a can't miss. I would also mention that as a guidebook writer, as having done the London book a million times, one of the things I always really admired was that London museums always have kids packs, if you ask, where they'll have a little backpack.
I was going to say that. That Hampton Court. That's the one thing that I did when I was in London, and I was 9 years old, and they said, "Do you want to go to the Tower of London or Hampton Court?" And I said Hampton Court because the Tower of London is for losers, and it still is.
The Tower of London is actually pretty cool, but Hampton Court is really neat, and they always have costumed characters there that pretend to be in characters, so you can talk to them, like Henry VIII, So Hampton Court is really nice.
Tell them the story of Henry VIII's 9 lives.
Windsor is really nice also.
Great for kids.
Yeah,
It's
so
great for kids.
London is great. The areas around England are great. You could do a staycation, because one of the most stressful things of traveling with a bunch of kids is going to be that you're going to have problems with, moving from hotel to hotel. So minimizing the hotels with kids that young, I think, is really important. I think, Nico, I'm going to answer your question for you. Your answer is Venice.
That is my that's my first answer. That's my primary answer. I think Venice is great. It's, obviously like one of the great cities of the world. It's very flat. It's not like physically demanding. Great food, obviously. Lots of sights to see. Can do, what was that one art museum that's like by the main canal?
Academia?
Yeah,
They're all
I think that's
big.
that one.
But really, I don't think you need to go into museums with kids. I think you can do a Cicchetti crawl, which you don't have to drink alcohol to do. You can try all the different things. Kids just love all the different opportunities to run around because Venice is very safe at night. Also, Row Venice, who I love, it's a bunch of ladies who run a rowing academy. You can take kids out, if teenagers probably, I don't know if it's kid appropriate, but you can have them learn how to row gondola, which is really top notch. So
Yeah.
that's Nico's for his graduation present. That was one of his destinations, is Venice.
Yeah.
And-
you can go to like all the islands. There's the glass blowing district. I love the glass blowing district. Lots of shopping. Yeah, even besides like museums, there's so many cool sights to see. All the basilicas and churches and stuff. But I have a secondary answer.
Hang on, look at the cord for my phone. It's going to run out of power.
Secondary answer would be I don't know where specifically because I haven't really spent enough time there, but the Netherlands.
Aw, I love that. I love that for you.
I love that for you.
Sorry, that's Zoomer humor. No, so tell me why. I think you're right, but tell me why.
Well, first of all, same as Venice. It's flat and not physically demanding for older and younger people.
And let me just say that's a really interesting point, because the one conversation that I had recently with our group, that is our private group, is that you cannot expect teenagers and children to have the same energy levels you have. You cannot do that. So if you plan a 12-hour day, they're going to hate you and they're going to revolt. So please keep in mind that if you are making a schedule, kids need time to chill. And I really beseech you, please do not think that banning electronics is going to make your travel better. It's not.
It's not.
It's not, because kids need time to chill just the same way. Excuse me for a second. There we go. There we go. Okay.
What?
There we go. Now we're upside down. Sorry, guys.
No, we're
My
fine, we're
my
fine.
phone's out of power, so I'm
just
fixing it.
It's fine. The camera's just on the other side.
Yeah. So anyway, so that is our probably top tip, especially for traveling with teenagers, is don't say they can't use their phones, because this is their way of chilling, and everybody needs to relax every now and then.
I can get my cords longer.
No, it's fine. This is fine. So please chime in about this. How would you feel about travel if a parent banned phone usage? How would you feel about that?
Oh, it's oppressive. Okay, it's like
Well, I mean, it's oppressive in the first place.
It's
like
not,
much less on travel.
and it's not okay, and it's not oppressive. I've actually come around on this recently. It's not oppressive because phones are inherently a thing that you need to have or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It's specifically because you're going to be with your parents all the time. So, and and this is one thing, and it's going to probably come out that it's really bad for you in any case, but.
Are you going to say you don't like hanging out with me?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is that being for like Gen Zers and like Gen Alpha and people younger, being on your phone is the equivalent of taking a smoke break. So
True.
imagine if you're taking your for people that are like Boomer generation, Gen X generation. Imagine taking your parents and saying you can't smoke while being around them.
Or like you can't drink.
Or like you can't drink, and they're like habitual drinkers or smokers, and it'll just be like. I'm miserable all the time.
This is a very spicy analogy, but okay.
Well, okay, I'll take it.
And I also a little bit resent being lumped in with boomers, by the way. So, but continue, please.
I'm going to take it in a different direction. For me personally, I hate being around people, and when I'm on travel, being around people is pretty much completely unavoidable. So
Let's put it in a more polite way. You are an introvert, and you get exhausted by peopling.
yes,
There we go.
we can put it in more friendly language.
There we go.
Yeah, and being around people like all the time when I'm traveling is kind of hard, so it's nice to be able to like escape into my phone for a little bit, and if that's banned and I just have to like stare into the void whenever I don't want to be around people, that's kind of not great.
It's like a smoke break.
You should
Okay.
stop with that, Lucca.
Yeah, you need to stop with that analogy. By the way, I have no problem with anybody who's a boomer. That's awesome. I just don't want to be lumped in with them because my dad's a boomer. And, like, that makes me feel like I'm 76. So, I'm not 76, by the way. So,
don't believe you.
just to clarify, we love boomers. Boomers travel with us all the time. They're awesome. But please, I am not that. I am a child of a boomer. Anyhow, just to be clear with you guys, I'm not, I don't have a foot in the grave yet. So, even if you think. Anyway, so I do. Oh, shut up. So that okay. Sorry, that was inappropriate.
No, it's fine.
Be quiet.
It's fine. Be quiet.
Stai zitta.
Basta.
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 So anyway, that is some hard advice I have for you guys. Is that I know that's unpopular with parents that it's okay to use phones. I think it's okay to make an agreement ahead of time where you say, hey, when we're with the tour group, no phones, or hey, when we're on the train. I'd like you to be looking outside to see what you're seeing. I think that's okay. You can lay some ground rules about phone usage, whatever works for your family. The other thing I'm interested in knowing from my children, what do you think about the drinking age? Because remember, in Europe, the drinking age varies from country to country, but for the most part, it's 18. So if he looks 18 already. He is 20. So what do you guys feel is kind of the best way to deal with the drinking age coming from my teenagers? What do you think is the best policy?
Well, I personally think that this is my party line, which is just let him have a little bit, you know, in the like sort of like Italian Catholic way of like, oh yeah, well you can have a little bit of wine with dinner, you know. I think that's healthy because it, you know, introduces it so that it's not like a restricted item that you're like being rebellious by drinking, and but also let him get drunk, like
Oh,
you know.
what?
Let me just add that Lucca did something that I actually completely respect, and you're going to think I'm a terrible parent for respecting this, but when he turned 18, he was by himself studying abroad in France, because he studied abroad in France previously, and he's going to do it again. So when he was 18, he was studying abroad. On his 18th birthday, what did you do?
When I turned 18, I went to a bar and I got a pack of cigarettes.
What?
I got the strongest drink that they could possibly serve me, and I smoked a cigarette and had that drink and also a shot of espresso.
And didn't you wear a beret while you did that?
I didn't wear a beret.
Okay, well, and maybe that's what
Very
I
sad.
Carried around
Deep
a
sad.
baguette like on your shoulder, like a soldier
Casually.
carries a gun.
Casually, yes. So I am not like saying any child should do that. And bad, Lucca, bad, bad.
Unhealthy behavior.
But on the other hand, kind of respect it. So I'm glad I wasn't there. Had I been there, I would have been like, no, we're not doing that. But this is actually a problem when you travel with teenagers, because I will recount for you an event when I was doing the Rick Steves family tours. We went to the Hofbrauhaus, and the kids all asked for root beer. And guess what they got? They each got, like, these kids were like 14, 15, 16, the big liter of beer. And the parents were alternately dying of they were just mortified, but also found that very, very funny. And so some of the parents just decided, you know, today is that time when what's going to happen to you is what happened to me when I was young and I started drinking. My parents made me drink the entire bottle of whiskey, right? That was a way parents used to parent in the past. Oh, you want to smoke cigarettes? Cool. I'm going to lock you in a closet and make you smoke the whole pack. Like, that never happened to me. I don't smoke, but like, I know that happened to other people I knew in high school. Like, their parents made them smoke a whole pack one after another until they threw up, and then they would never do it again. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of attitudes. Nico, what is your feeling about drinking for teenagers in Europe?
I would agree kind of generally with Lucca's, like, Italian Catholic, you can have a little bit of wine with dinner kind of thing. And then especially if they are in whatever location and they are above that location's drinking age, I think it's okay, like with supervision, to have like a glass of wine or a cider or a beer or something with dinner.
Let them like participate in wine tasting, stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
Especially if you're having like alcohol as like a form of like doing something, like let them participate.
Yeah.
And I will just say, as a completely, random example, my children, I have always let them participate in stuff like that because I don't want it to be a forbidden item. If it's a forbidden item, a lot of children want it more. And in my house, my kids, I have a liquor cabinet they never touch, and I don't worry about my children when I leave them by themselves. Like when I travel, I don't worry they're going to have a big party and they're going to drink all the liquor because it's never been a taboo. So it's a Jedi mind trick, right? I have done a Jedi mind trick on my children by making alcohol not that cool because it's a thing that you can do if you feel like it and your parents do it, and that's lame. Like, I never smoked. I don't know if you guys know that, but I never smoked because my grandmother, my dad's mom, Grandma Ellen, was from Liverpool, and she had a hard life. She was a drinker. She was in the war. She had a lot of stories.
Cool. I wish I met her.
She was a real piece of work, and she smoked like a chimney. And she was kind of, I hate to say it, my grandmother was quite ugly. And she was the exact opposite of anything my sister and I ever wanted to do. Neither my sister nor I have a smoking or drinking problem. Neither of us do that at all because, like, that's like Grandma Ellen. So, anyway, I try to instill that energy in my children.
Sorry, just as an aside, I really wish that I met this person because she was an RAF mechanic who then, after the war, got married and like tried to settle down, couldn't settle down, divorced that husband, went off to California to marry a man with money, divorced that man, and then married another one, and then did she end up with that one?
think she was married 3 or 4 times.
So another one.
She was super charming, and she kept marrying successively richer men. And she was living in Brentwood when my dad was a teenager. Like, if you're from LA, you know what that means. Like, you got to be kidding. That's like Beverly Hills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I got to find out more about her. I would love to write about her because she was like the ultimate character. And fun fact, when I was in India, this sounds like a random anecdote, but it's true. I had a palm reading. And during my palm reading, the palm reader said, and don't you roll your eyes at me, you skeptic.
I am rolling my eyes.
Stop it. They said to me, your palm reading, your palm tells me that you had somebody in your family, your immediate family, who died when you were about 16. And I said, oh yeah, my grandmother died when I was about 16. And she was a piece of work. And they're like, oh yeah, she follows you. She's with you all the time. Her spirit follows you. And I'm like, gosh, that really explains a lot, actually. No, but it does.
Does it?
Yes, because I was the most mild child in our family, and I lead the spiciest life. And I think it's Grandma Ellen on my shoulder saying, do it, do it, do it. Have that extra Negroni. Do that thing you're not supposed to do. So, stop it. You have not lived my life. You didn't know my grandma. Your grandma, both of your grandmas are just very sweet. Well, actually, I think that your Nana is a little spicy, but
a little bit.
Oh yeah, she's a little spicy. Yeah.
I think they're both a little bit spicy.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, we got kind of like a little off the rails here, but oh, you love Ray. Thanks. My dad loves you too. My dad loves you guys loving him, believe me. One question is, do we ever take anyone on a tour that would need a walker or a wheelchair? That would have to be something we have a conversation about. I have worked with people with walkers and wheelchairs before. The point of it is we need to make sure that a walker or a wheelchair does not interfere with the group activities, but certain tours would actually be adaptable. So we always want to encourage and include as many people as we can in our travel mission. So for sure, people who are not as mobile as others, I think it's absolutely possible to do tours. I took my parents for example, to Ireland, and that worked out really well, even though my dad's not a super good walker. It worked out pretty well. I had a woman once who was 96 on a tour with a broken foot. And she showed up on my tour, and I was like, dude, you have to go home. This is not going to work. And she said, look, I know this was not a good choice, but this has to be 10 years ago. This woman's got to be no longer with us. There's no way. And she said, look, you have to understand, I know this is my last trip ever to Europe. I will never make it to Europe ever again. This is it. Please let me stay, and please work with me. And you know what? I did. And it was one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. And what we did is we said, okay, the group is going to walk from the Roman Forum to the Pantheon. I'm going to put you in a cab. It's going to drop you at the Pantheon. We're going to meet you there. Just stay put, and I'm going to come find you. So we do stuff like that to try to scale up travel to make it as accessible as possible. People in wheelchairs, that could be a little more difficult because it depends on the destination. Something like Rome is really not great for wheelchairs because there's not a lot of accessibility.
In a lot of Europe, there's a lot of like cobblestone roads and stuff, and that is not conducive to wheelchairs.
Yeah, so if you wanted
cities as well, like maybe not maybe not the Tributary, maybe not that.
Well, but that's the thing is if you had a situation with a wheelchair, that would probably not be appropriate for one of our group tours, but it could be appropriate for something where it's private travel that we put together for you, and we help to find vans and guides that can work with people with that are used to working with disabilities. So just as a thought, I think that's a really interesting question. But yeah, we do try our best to scale our travel, but you have to be super flexible, and you have to arrive with the attitude that you're not going to delay the group at all, but you're going to change pace when you can. Take taxis liberally, meet us at restaurants and really scale things up. I'm thinking about bringing my mom to Rome with me in the fall, and my mom is fantastic. She's in really good shape. We do a lot of walking that I think she's tiny and she has very small footsteps. So I would love to bring her, and my thought about it is to bring her and just put her in a cab and have her meet us at destinations when we have walks. So something just to kind of consider. I think that's absolutely true. Oh, thank you guys for loving the advice on devices. This is the biggest issue, I think, with family travel is the devices. I have another thought, though, and we're going to do this on our family trip, which I think Nico doesn't know he's going to be in charge of. One of the things I love doing on my family trips is a lot of times, We're not drunk. The camera's drunk. One of the thoughts that I have that I've done before with my family groups is I've actually had a phone swap where you queue up a playlist and then everybody swaps their phone and then you listen to somebody else's playlist.
I'm not going to give somebody else my phone.
Well, okay, but hang on. That or people can come up and DJ on the bus. They can queue up a playlist and they can plug it into the bus. And what's really neat about that is that kids often relate over music. I know you will never tell us what music you listen to because you're embarrassed.
That's becoming less true, but whatever.
Yeah, but I think that that's a really great way to encourage kids to bond. So sometimes devices can actually have a really positive effect because it gives kids the opportunity to break barriers between other English-speaking kids, but also even between locals.
Ooh.
What was that?
That was my door, I think.
Oh,
It was the wind closing it.
yeah.
It's
So
so windy. Whatever.
this is the point, is that sometimes I think you can think of ways to make a phone useful. One other interesting thing, and Lucca, you would remember this, there is actually a fun game you can play with your phone with your kids. Now, Pokemon Go is one. We love playing Pokemon
Yeah.
Go. I regret to inform you, I love playing Pokemon Go with my kids, and you can play that anywhere in the world. But there's a really interesting game you can play in Paris and other cities where you take pictures of this art. And there's an app for it, and we're going to have to look that up. I'll try to get you guys a link for this because it's very interesting, where you take a picture of these different kind of digital-looking arts. They're kind of like little blocks. They almost look like Space Invaders.
Pixel art,
yeah.
Pixelated art. And you take pictures, and you try to take as many as you can, and it increases your score as you go. So I think it's really... I think it's really a neat thing. You can think of creative ways to use technology so that the kids can use their phones, but that can also help to connect them with the culture. I think that another really cool way of using a phone when you're traveling with kids is to do a digital scrapbook every day. So for example, on our family tour, we're going to have a WhatsApp chat group, and every day I'm going to have the kids send in their best shot of the day. And then at the end of the tour, we can put together a digital scrapbook that they can have on their phone, and they can just flip through and it'll highlight the best pictures everybody took. And the thing that's very interesting about using that, having kids submit their photos, is it tells you a lot about what kids notice. And you'll be really surprised about what kids notice. What I used to do with my groups before everybody had phones is I'd give every kid a sheet of paper and they'd be the secretary of the day. They had to write down what we did that day. They had to include photos, ticket stubs, things like that. And then we had a physical scrapbook at the end of the tour, which was really cool. But now in this kind of digital age, we can put together these sort of digital scrapbooks. Kids notice interesting things. And it's such, I think as a parent, the best way to look at family travel is not just that you're educating your kids. That's the worst possible way to look at it. The best way to look at it is that your kids are going to educate you on themselves, because you're going to learn about your kids when you travel with them, or your grandkids. You're going to learn things you didn't know. You're going to find out what music they like. You're going to find out what caught their eye when they walk through the streets of Paris. You're going to find out if they're open to foods, and if they're not, you're going to help teach them to be open to foods. Or maybe you're not open to foods, and they're going to be like, "Hey, you need to eat mochi. I hate mochi, but my kids have forced me to eat mochi before." It's gross. I don't get it.
Not. What?
No, I don't get it. So, and that's a really great comment. Somebody saying you can, thank you for that, Belinda, that you can do the best graffiti. Have a competition every day to see who takes a picture of the best graffiti. So I would say, instead of banning phones, instead of making it the thing that is like the evil, don't. Use it as a tool to help the kids capture their experience and communicate with you, because honestly, how well do you know your kids or your grandkids? How well? I don't know this one at all. Like, really at all, because he keeps himself he leads a whole different life online. And so I'm hoping to get to know him more. This one I know because he tells me everything.
I do.
He's very vocal.
Well, one other thing
He likes
is
talking about himself.
I do like talking about myself, and I do like talking in general. But the one of the other things is that a lot of the times using phones is like a symptom of boredom, and so it's like if your kids are constantly on their phones, then maybe it's time to
Change up.
switch something up, change the conversation, consider something else,
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah, so I think traveling with kids and grandkids should be an opportunity for you to learn something. It's something for your kids to learn something. The other thing I really would like to stress that you avoid when you're traveling with your kids, whether that's to Washington, D.C. or Paris or wherever you're taking kids, please don't try to cram their brains full of what you think is good programming. Because I think, at least with the Gen X kind of cohort of parents, there's been this attitude that children are like art projects and we need to stuff as much into their brains as possible, make them speak as many languages, play as many instruments, play as many sports. And the more we stuff into that box, the better, more successful person we get. And I realized early on that that is not true. And that when we would take kids to the academia, they just weren't interested. And you put them in front of the David and they don't care because you have tried too hard to force that on him. And I'm going to give you a great example of how this is not successful. My mom used to love the Bee Gees. She would play the Bee Gees all the time when I was little. And I didn't love the Bee Gees.
Are you about to say that you don't like the Bee Gees?
I didn't when I was little because my mom was forcing me to listen to it. Now I love the Bee Gees. I love the Bee Gees. But that's the thing, is that when a parent forces something on a child, they automatically have that reaction of, this is against my will, and I don't like it. So please don't force feed your kids things. Put the appropriate number of things in there. And the best way to get kids, I think, to appreciate the things you're going to show them is educate them ahead of time. And don't educate them, but like play a really interesting documentary. Like there's that great documentary about the Medicis on PBS that they produced maybe 10 years ago. Watch stuff. Watch movies about Paris. Watch movies about London. Like, do things to get them excited. Let them, tell them to go, do a deep dive on Reddit on things to see and have them suggest stuff that you do together. And maybe it's stuff you don't want to do. Like, who wants to go to the, anime part of Tokyo? I mean, I did. I thought it was really cool. But, not everybody wants to do that. But, hear kids out. Let them make part of the itinerary. And you might learn something yourself. You might learn something about popular culture, or about the things your kids are into. And here's the worst realization I made working with family groups for 20 years. Most parents don't know their children at all. They don't know them at all. They don't know the life they live online. They don't know what they're interested in because we're busy as parents. I'm busy. I've got a lot going on. I got to pay the bills. I got to clean the house and cook dinner. Not a lot of people take the time to sit down and ask their kids what they're into. But travel is a unique place where you can. You have the time, you can observe. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth. I just really think programming kids is not the way. Forcing it on them is not the way. And really giving them an opportunity to grow and bloom and really inform you about who they are. I think that's a really neat thing to do. So I'm just going to go to some of the questions. On my recent tour, my tour leader asked each of us what our favorite piece of music was, and our van driver would research and play it. We learned so much about our fellow travelers with that experience. Yeah, I've been doing that for years. It's a really neat way. And what I loved is I had one day a DJing battle between parents and kids, and that was the funniest thing I've ever seen on a tour, because it was parents who were a little bit older than me. I think my kids were younger at the time, and so it was people who were, let's say they were teenagers in the 80s. I was really more a teenager in the 90s. And so these people who are maybe a decade, a little bit more older than me, would play their favorite track, which would be something terrible, like Van Halen, or I'm sorry, I don't like Van Halen, or all the weird hair bands of the 80s. They play these really 80s hair anthems, and the parents would be at the back of the bus going, yeah, and they'd be banging their heads, and I'm going, oh, these are my sister's friends, because my sister's a lot older than me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I get who you are. And then the kids would play, I think at the time Frozen was really big or something like this. And so it was just this kind of battle of the bands thing. And then we'd have the group in the bus kind of rate which song everybody as a whole thought was better. So there's some really creative, cool stuff you can do with music, I think. Lucca, what do you listen to? He listens to jazz mostly when I'm around, but podcasts.
Podcasts, classical.
Yeah, it's true.
You're such a liar.
So what?
What do you actually listen to?
When people like us say that we listen to classical, we're pandering because we're embarrassed what we're actually interested in listening to.
Sure. The breakcore. I like breakcore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also had a thing about being into Japanese soft pop. For a while.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
City
And,
pop.
what was the Brazilian?
Samba? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. So traveling with teenagers, I think I really hope you all will kind of look at this as an opportunity, kids too, not just teenagers, but to learn not just something about your kid or your grandkid, but something about yourself. And, I think it's a really beautiful space where you don't have a lot of distractions to actually bond. Are we going to bond?
We're going to bond so much. We're going to bond.
We need to bond.
Yeah, we need to bond.
We already look like twins, so.
I'm so bonded with you.
Bleh. So after we are done with our tour that we're doing, which just as a reminder, we do these custom tours all the time. And if you guys are interested in doing custom tours, we need at least like 4 to 5 months minimum to put it together. So if you ever wanted to do a custom tour, it's a minimum of 6 people, and we can do anything in the world. Honestly, anything you can think of. If you have 6 friends, we can put it together. You can request me, you can request Andrew, you can request anybody on our team that you like. You can request Lucca, because Lucca actually is a guide now. He is guided on a number of tours. So what tour is the next tour for you, Boo?
It's going to be Paris. It's going to be the Paris Christmas tour. And I am very, very excited about that.
And big news, the Paris Christmas tour will be guided by Lucca, but I will be there also, as will he.
I will.
Yeah. You didn't know
Breaking news.
Breaking news. People are saying
Many
that
Many such cases.
People are saying that Nico might also be on there as well. So you're going to get the whole Murdoch contingent on the Paris tour in December, which will be really a lot of fun. So we love this tour. We're going to take you guys to Strasbourg this year, which I went last year just to scout it, and it is absolutely crazy. It's so adorable and so much fun. So we're going to have a really good time at Christmas. I know nobody's thinking about Christmas, but I am, because we have just a few spots left. I'm doing a London tour with Nico. I don't know, you might come on to London depending on the time.
I will.
I know, it's a surprise. So, surprise.
Apparently I'm going on a bunch of tours. I didn't know this.
Yeah. So we have London, we have Copenhagen. That's a new one you guys might not know about that just was added with my friend Nina, and then Budapest and Vienna, which we have had for a while. Next year, we're going to have a different slate of Christmas tours. So if any of those sound good, take them now, because I don't know if they'll be on the calendar for next year. So I think we have talked your ears off enough. This is kind of how my house is all the time. It's just sort of like nonsense, nonstop. No? Am I wrong?
No, you're right. It's just
It's just different flavors of nonsense all the time.
Just
really.
different flavors of nonsense all the time, having a couple of teens at home. So what I would like to do now is I would like each of you to give your hottest travel tip. What is your hottest travel tip?
Don't take a cab. If you're in a city, don't take a cab. That's just generally where I am all the
But
time.
what
though.
would you do instead?
Take the train.
Oh, okay, I like that.
If you're in a city, if you're in like the countryside, then you're going to need to do different stuff. But if you're in a city, and there is an option to take a bus or a train, don't take a cab. You're not going to be able to see what.
Let us rephrase that. Lucca would like to encourage you to be bold about taking public transportation.
Yeah.
How's that? Because I know a lot of people who have traveled with me have said, oh, this is the first time I've ever been on a bus, or this is the first time I've ever been on a metro. Because there's a lot of people in the U.S. that don't have access to that because their city has very poor transportation. So we really want to encourage you to be bold about trying the transportation wherever you travel, right?
Yeah, and I think it's a good, as somebody in the Department of Urban Planning, and it's a good experience to see how different cities across the world function in different ways. And one of the ways that is the most different in Nico's yawning because this is a boring lecture.
Yeah.
One of the biggest ways that European cities are different from American cities is their focus on public transportation. And so if you don't have a good bus route that goes by your house, if you don't have a train in your city, or if the train goes nowhere that you're interested in going, then I especially think that you should take the train in Europe, and you should really think about I wonder why there's no train in my city. I wonder why the train sucks in my city.
Okay, so but I'm gonna help what he just said
proselytizing.
be more interesting, which is the access to public transportation when you travel is often because you don't understand where to get tickets, you don't understand where to get schedules. So I'm gonna make this easy for you. Google Maps will have all of your route numbers. It'll have all of your bus stops. Just use Google Maps. Before you go, even look it up on Google Maps ahead, and you can write that stuff down or keep a screenshot of it. most transit authorities across the world now, except for Seattle, offer a app or an online purchase. For example, yes, I know. Big news. The Paris Metro is getting rid of the tickets, the paper tickets, and they want you to use an app on your phone for the Navigo, the card to tap. London, you don't even need the Oyster card anymore. You can do tap pay with your phone. And so many transit authorities do either app-based ticketing. Berlin, for example, when I was there for a travel conference recently, I loaded the BVG app. I bought X number of tickets and we just tapped the tickets off as we went through. Never needed to go find a ticket seller. So it is more accessible than ever to use train tickets and buying tickets for long haul trains. Italy has Italo and Trenitalia that are apps available on your phone. You can purchase tickets that way, and many, many others. The Belgian one, I just loaded that one. That was very easy to use. So really, I think this is, to Lucca's point, it's more accessible than ever to do public transportation. So yeah, Nico and I, when we arrive at London, in London, here's a hot tip. There's a direct bus. Rome also, yes, thank you for that. There's a direct bus from Heathrow Airport to Bath. It leaves from Terminal 3 where we're going to arrive. We're just going to walk downstairs, get on the National Express bus, and be dropped off about a block from our hotel. So don't hire a cab. A cab to take us to that hotel in Bath would probably cost us about $150. We're going to instead pay probably $15 a person, and that's going to get us to our hotel in Bath. So Nico, what is your hot travel tip?
I don't know. My hot travel tip is to take a tour with Adventures with Sarah.
Says the child going to college in the fall who would like some college money.
True.
Do you have a cold travel tip?
I can proselytize more about trains.
No, don't. My hot travel tip for you right now is exactly this: to do a little bit of research ahead of time to see what apps are applicable to the city you're going to. Comb through the App Store. There's a lot of blogs about this. I can also post some of my ideas, but there are so many apps you can use that are going to make your life a little bit easier while you're there. So many ways you can buy tickets remotely. The other hot travel tip is don't assume you can buy tickets for everything when you get there. When we're going to Bath, I used to just, when I was doing book research, I would just sail in like whatever and be like, hey, I need to research this. Let me in to go check it out. We had to buy a time ticket ahead of time with a time slot. And I wanted to take him to the pump room for tea. We had to reserve that at least a couple of weeks in advance. So if you want to do some of these really popular things, please think about that ahead of time. You need to book that stuff ahead. Another travel tip here, though, is when I went to book that, they had a combo wombo. You could do the combo of the tea in the pump room and get into the Roman baths. And it was 80 pounds a person, and I was a little offended, like, I can't believe how expensive that is. Turns out that wasn't a deal. That it was cheaper to buy the ticket separate and then buy the tea separate as well. So sometimes combo tickets are not a value. And so do your research ahead of time. The internet is a wonderful thing for that. And you can find out ahead of time what's going to cost you extra money and what's not. Have you come up with a travel tip?
I do. I don't know if it's very hot, though.
It's a lukewarm travel tip from Nico.
Yeah, this is a very room temperature.
A room temperature travel tip from Nico.
I would say, like, don't plan everything, period. But I think specifically where you're going to eat. I think it's fun to, like, go to some, like, local random area and find some, like, pub or little, random local restaurant that you can eat in instead of going to whatever, like, big fancy restaurants or, well-known kind of stuff.
Trendy restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I would piggyback on that by saying don't be fooled by Instagram. Don't be fooled by these food bloggers who go to these restaurants and they post Instagrams. Here's the hottest restaurant in Seattle these days. Sometimes they have good information, but a lot of times those restaurants are really not that good. They've just paid an influencer to come in and make some really nice videos. So the best resource to find like really good quality stuff is just simply Google. Like Google the area, the neighborhood you're in, and look at the reviews. The reviews will kind of tell you. But also, don't count out restaurants that have under a 4.0 because sometimes there's not enough reviews in. Sometimes the comments, you'll read them. I never read the top comments. I never read a 5-star comment because who cares? They loved it. I want to read the 3-star comments. I don't want to read the 1-star comments because 1-star comments are usually people with a beef against the restaurant, the server, whatever, or they are in a bad mood. The 3-star comments are always the most interesting because there's always truth in the very mid-range. So that's true of hotels too. If you're looking for a hotel and you want to look at reviews, never go to TripAdvisor. They are bugiardi. They're liars. Anybody can post on TripAdvisor. But hotels, Expedia, places where people have actually stayed. Yelp, I think, no, not Yelp. Well, they're OpenTable. OpenTable is a good place to look for restaurant reviews as well because people are only invited to review if they've actually eaten at the restaurant. So I need to write about this because that's important information that I have in my head and I have never done this.
Also, another comment about that is that whatever advice gets people closer to trying European kebabs is good advice.
Okay, tell us about European kebabs.
European kebabs are like fast food, but in Europe. They're like the burger shacks, except they, instead of serving burgers, they serve these kebabs, which are sort of, you have a big stick of meat that's always rotating, and they cut slices from it, and they just put it in a kind of burrito-ish thing. And I think it's one of the best foods ever. I love it so much, and I have it whenever I go to Europe. And the best way that you're going to find a kebab shop is not actually by looking it up on Google even. It's just walking by the shop and being like, yeah, that's a kebab shop, all right. And you're going in there and ordering a kebab. And a lot of the time, you might not even get good food. You're just going to get like different food or like good enough food that is different. Yeah.
Really selling it.
You're really
And that's good. And it's good because then you'll be like, you'll come home and you'll be like, dang, that one time that I went to that one restaurant and got that thing.
Okay, so I know I said that the travel tips are how we're going to close, but I actually thought of one more interesting thing, particularly for people who are traveling with children or teens, because my children have traveled everywhere with me for years since they were both 8 or 9 years old. First of all, 8 is the minimum age to take a child anywhere. They will not remember anything before the age of 8. Nothing. Can you believe how much money I've spent on these children, taking them to Disneyland or whatever, and they have no recollection? Do not spend money on a child before the age of 8 to travel. That's the very earliest. Both of them, when they went to Italy when they were 8, they barely remember it. So please don't waste your money. Anyway, that's my little soapbox. Because you've traveled so much in this world, I want you to tell me your top 3 places you've ever been, and just from the point of view of a child. What are the top 3 places you've ever been? It can be a city, a site. What are the top 3 things that stick out in your mind as your favorite things we ever did as a child or teen?
I'd give it Sicily. Oh, I know. Palermo and Taormina's extension of Catania and Palermo.
So, Sicily.
Sicily. Bangkok and Chiang Mai, because it's all so completely different, and like it's anything that is so different and overwhelming that it kind of breaks your brain is good, especially when you're a child.
My favorite
your
experience
child's
with you, yeah, my favorite experience with you in particular was the first time we landed in Rome. He was 8. We got off the plane in Rome. You know what I'm going to say. We went to the Auto Grill in the Rome airport, and I got him his first cappuccino, and it blew his mind. He loved it so much. And then he wanted cappuccinos all the time. And let me just say, don't feed an 8-year-old unlimited cappuccinos. Not the best choice. Nico, what are your top 3 travel experiences, destinations, whatever, of all time?
Probably Chiang Mai also. That was good. That's a good...
We need you more in the shop.
how's this?
Good.
Sorry.
It's good.
Would probably say Chiang Mai also. It's a good child city.
Thailand.
Thailand in general is good.
It is very child friendly.
Yeah, it's very child friendly. A lot of people there speak English, etc.
Thailand is pretty magical, so especially for kids.
Yeah. Venice. I love Venice. And I think London.
I agree. Those are good. And my favorite travel moment with you was when we did the gladiator school in Rome.
Oh, that was fun.
So I took him to the gladiator. There's a gladiator school outside of Rome where these actors, it's like a historic society where they're all cosplayers. They kind of do Roman cosplay and they dress up as gladiators. A lot of these guys are actual actors too who show up in Gladiator and other movies as well. It's like a historical society and they let you come. It's out on the Appian Way and they put you into a gladiator kind of tunic and they teach you about the weapons. They have this kind of like makeshift museum. They teach you how to use the different weapons, and then you spar with your teacher. And I sparred with Nico, and Nico was 8, and it was hysterical. We had such a good time. Do you remember that?
I do remember this, yeah.
That was probably my favorite travel moment when he was a kid, was taking him there. So you can really cultivate these very special experiences. And that's kind of what I would really encourage you overall to do if you're traveling with kids and teens. Don't do the stuff everybody else is doing. Please don't do the stuff that Instagram tells you to do. Please instead...
Don't listen to social media in general.
Don't listen to social media. Like, try to do stuff that it kind of addresses the things kids like. The one thing I would like to do with him, which he doesn't want to do, but I should make him do, is there's a bike ride we can do outside of Bath, an e-bike ride that takes you through Victorian tunnels and out into the countryside. Like, think about stuff like that are not going to be on anybody's social media radar. The Gladiator School was amazing. Like the Domus Aurea going underground.
Oh, that was cool.
They both love the Domus Aurea. So think about doing interactive stuff that's going to ignite their imaginations. They're never going to be excited or have their imaginations ignited by places with too many people. So the Colosseum is a disaster for most people unless you get like the night tour. It's going to be not fun. We're not even doing that on the family tour I'm doing because it's such a miserable thing for kids. We're going to do the Forum instead, and we're going to find some interesting corners of the Forum. So please just kind of think about that as you're traveling. So I think that these are some really good ideas, not just for traveling with kids, but also traveling in general. Just kind of ignore what you see on social media and try to do stuff that connects more with you directly. So thank you so much for joining us, you guys, and we will see you again for another Ask Me Anything or a live. We love answering your questions. It's a lot of fun, but we wish you a wonderful travel season. Please note next week we're going to have a lot of travel skills content, including our very well-known travel chew recommendation. So thank you very much. Ciao.
Ciao.